First, I will have you consider the question, when did you first realize you were a citizen? For many of us present in this room, the gift of citizenship was granted to us at birth. Those who wish to obtain it must first overcome the immigration system and the other obstacles that we place in their way once they make it here. Consider Maite Parra. She was your average high school valedictorian, anxiously writing her commencement speech and thinking about all the things she needed to get done before starting at the University of Texas in the fall. But with one tweet, Maite sparked a nationwide debate. Valedictorian, 4.5 GPA, full tuition paid for at University of Texas, 13 cords and medals, nice legs. Oh, and I'm undocumented. Maite was faced with quite a bit of support, actually. People were praising her as the example of what we want immigrants in this country to look like, but not all of it was positive. In fact, one user tweeted, "Congrats on your achievement. After we deport you, perhaps you could come back in a way that doesn't make you a criminal." The backlash became so severe that Maite had to delete her Twitter account for fear that people would report her to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Now, despite the negative attention that immigrants, predominantly undocumented immigrants, receive on the internet, social media has become a very important tool in the fight for progressive, comprehensive immigration reform. Maite is a dreamer, one of the 11 million currently residing in the US, living in the shadows, undocumented. They are seeking the very elusive American dream, one that they were looking for by being lured by the false expectations, this idea of American opportunity, of American exceptionalism. They are then confronted with the grim reality of an incredibly broken and unfair system. Consider Constantino Morales, a Mexican police officer who was threatened by the cartel. With very limited time, he was forced to flee to the United States for his safety, and ultimately opened a case with immigration court seeking asylum. Because he couldn't afford a lawyer, he was forced to represent himself and wound up losing his case after 4 years of trying to gain asylum. 6 months after his deportation, Morales was gunned down in Mexico by the cartel. His last words to the public upon losing his case, hearing the court's decision, was, "It was a difficult fight, but it was one worth fighting. Never give up. Life will go on." So how does a group of marginalized people deal with the difficulties that come with residing in a country that doesn't want them here? Well, that's where social media plays in. It becomes a tool that they can use to elevate their voices without putting themselves at risk for deportation. Sites like Facebook and Twitter allow undocumented immigrants, the dreamers, to become involved in activist movements. Social media played a part in the organization of protests against Trump's rescinding of DACA, and it allowed those protests to be quick and to be forceful. Social media has also the power to literally stop deportation. Such was the case of Walter. He was 2 weeks away from deportation when his childhood friend started a Facebook page called Keep Walter's Dream Alive. Within hours, Walter received thousands of people and organizations alike pledging their support. This attention, this nationwide attention, allowed him to acquire a letter of support from a Democratic senator in his state, and he ultimately received a year-long deportation deferment, which has since been renewed. But it's not always that easy. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, actually has a Twitter account with a link that allows users to send in anonymous tips. Additionally, there are forums like 4chan, which encourage the luring of undocumented immigrants to release their status to a person by co-opting the hashtags that are used by these social movements themselves. In spite of this, undocumented immigrants persevere. Social media has become a platform through which immigrants can identify allies who can vote, who can safely protest, and who can reach out to their representatives. Through these allies, immigrants are able to create a proxy citizenship and are able to advocate for themselves in some capacity. So how much is this citizenship worth? For people like Maite and Morales, everything. For people like them, legal status in this country is the difference between life and death. Because a life lived under the weight of an oppressive darkness is not really a life. Their future is uncertain, dependent on the whims of our current administration, as it has been for many years. And if they cannot achieve a true legal citizenship, then they will forge their own, even if it exists only within the confines of social media. They have given everything for their chance at the American dream. What have you done to earn yours?